Welcome to Wealth of Words, where we crack open some of the most influential books out there.
The kind that change how you see the world.
I'm Richard,
And I'm Isabella.
and I'm ready to get my mind expanded.
I'm here to help us navigate tonight's intellectual adventure.
So grab your thinking cap, or maybe just a comfy chair and a beverage of your choice, because tonight we're diving into a classic. We're talking Common Stocks and Uncommon Profits by Philip A. Fisher.
Oh, yeah, a
It's
classic.
a book that's practically a legend among investors.
It's true.
This book has been shaping investment strategies for decades, and its wisdom is just as relevant today.
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly. Now, before we get lost in the world of high finance, quick reminder to hit that follow button and tell us what you think after the show. We love hearing your take on things.
Love it.
Okay, Isabella,
Yeah.
this book is packed with insights, but if we had to pick a starting point, what would it be?
Well, you can't talk about Fisher without mentioning his famous 15 points. They're like a blueprint for identifying companies with real potential.
15 points, huh? Sounds a bit like a treasure map leading to investment gold.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely can't cover them all tonight, but maybe we can peek at a few of the most intriguing ones.
Absolutely. One that I always find fascinating is development and research.
Okay.
Fisher believed that a company truly committed to innovation will consistently invest in pushing the boundaries, not just resting on its laurels.
So it's not just about having a cool product today, but about constantly looking for ways to improve and evolve. That makes sense. After all, business world is all about staying ahead of the curve.
Right, and it's not just about the size of their research budget either. It's about the company's culture. Do they foster creativity? Do they encourage employees to think outside the box? Those are the kinds of things that really make a difference.
Okay, so point one, a company needs to be hungry for progress.
Mhm.
What else is on Fisher's list of must-haves?
Another one that stands out is outstanding sales and marketing organizations. Even with a fantastic product, you need a team that can effectively get it in front of the right customers.
You're telling me I once tried to sell homemade cookies online, and let's just say my marketing skills need some work.
Oh, no.
But in the business world, I imagine it's about more than just catchy slogans, right?
Absolutely. It's about understanding the target market, crafting a compelling message, and building relationships with customers.
Okay, 2 points down, 13 to go. This is starting to feel like we're assembling a puzzle piece by piece to see what a truly exceptional company looks like.
That's a great way to put it, and one of the most valuable tools Fisher gives us for piecing together this puzzle is the concept of scuttlebutt.
Scuttlebutt. It sounds a bit like gossip, doesn't it? Are we talking about eavesdropping on competitors or something?
It's a bit more strategic than that. Scuttlebutt is all about gathering information from a wide range of sources: competitors, suppliers, customers, even former employees. It's about going beyond the official company line and getting a feel for what's really going on.
So it's like being an investigative journalist digging for the real story behind the press releases and financial statements.
Exactly. Imagine you're interested in a company that makes software right. Instead of just reading your website, you might talk to a developer who used to work there. Or you could ask a competitor's sales rep about their experience going up against the company's product. You can gather some truly insightful information that way.
That's brilliant. It's like getting the inside scoop from people who've seen the company from different angles. I can see how that could give you a much richer understanding.
It really can, and it also helps you verify whether the company's actions are consistent with their words.
Ah, so it's not just about collecting information, it's about cross-checking it, making sure the pieces fit together. It's like detective work. I like it.
Fisher would approve.
Yeah.
He really believed that investing is as much an art as it is a science.
Wait, art. I thought we were talking about finance, not painting. What does he mean by that?
Well, it's about developing that intuition, that sense for which companies have that special something that sets them apart.
So we've got the 15 points, which were like our analytical checklist, and then we've got Scuttlebutt, which is our way of gathering intel from the field. But on top of all that, we need to develop this almost artistic sense for evaluating a company's potential. Is that what Fisher's getting at?
He is. He compares it to a doctor diagnosing a patient. They use their knowledge and tools, but also rely on experience and judgment to form a complete picture.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Even with all the data in the world, there's still that element of human insight that can't be replaced. You can't just plug numbers into a formula and expect it to spit out a guaranteed winner.
Right. And that's why Fisher emphasizes the importance of learning from your own experiences, both the successes and the failures.
Speaking of learning, I've always found it interesting how people try to categorize investors. Like you're either a growth investor or a value investor. Does Fisher fall into one of those camps?
That's a great question. Fisher's son Kenneth actually addressed this directly. He pointed out that the principles in common stocks and uncommon profits can be applied to different investment styles.
So it's not about fitting neatly into a box, but about finding quality companies, regardless of what label people want to slap on them.
Exactly. The 15 points can help you identify companies with strong management, solid financials, and a real competitive edge, regardless of whether they're considered growth or value.
It's like the principles of the foundation, and then you can build your own investment strategy on top of that foundation based on your own goals and risk tolerance.
That's a great analogy. It speaks to the timelessness of Fisher's work. The market has changed so much since he first wrote this book, but those core principles still hold true.
You know, one thing that really struck me while reading this book was how Fisher's approach could have helped investors avoid some of the major pitfalls of the past, like the dot-com bubble.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
think about it. How many of those .com companies would have passed even half of Fisher's 15 points?
Not many, I'd wager. I remember back then, everyone was throwing money at anything with a .com at the end of its name. It felt like the Wild West of the internet.
And that's a classic example of how getting caught up in the hype of the moment can lead to some pretty disastrous decisions. Fisher's emphasis on thorough research and due diligence could have saved a lot of people a lot of heartache.
He would have had you asking the tough questions, digging into the details, and looking beyond the hype to see if there was any real substance behind the promises.
Right. He stressed the importance of understanding a company's business model, their competitive advantage, and their long-term prospects, things that got lost in the .com frenzy.
So in a way, Fisher's approach is as much about avoiding bad investments as it is about finding good ones, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's a two-sided coin. By applying the 15 points and using Scuttlebutt, you can weed out the companies that are likely to burn you and focus on those with real potential to grow and thrive over the long term.
It's like he's saying, don't just get swept up in the current trends. Take a step back, do your homework, and invest in companies you truly believe in for the long haul.
And that brings us to another one of Fisher's core principles, the importance of a long-term perspective.
This seems to be a recurring theme with a lot of investing greats, right? It's not about trying to get rich quick. It's about having the patience to let your investments grow over time.
Exactly. Fisher believed that short-term thinking was one of the biggest pitfalls for investors. He likened it to the difference between winning a sprint and running a marathon. If you're constantly trying to time the market, you're going to get exhausted, and you're probably not going to win in the end.
But if you find those companies you believe in, the ones that are in it for the long haul, you can ride out those inevitable market fluctuations and come out ahead in the end.
That's the idea. It's about looking beyond the day-to-day noise and focusing on the fundamentals.
You know, it's funny. We're talking about investing here, but this advice feels applicable to so many areas of life.
It really does. Whether you're building a business, pursuing a career, or even just working on a personal goal, that long-term perspective is invaluable.
It's about having a vision, sticking to your principles, and not getting distracted by the short-term temptations.
Yeah. Beautifully said. And it's a testament to the enduring wisdom of Philip Fisher and his book Common Stocks and Uncommon Profits.
All right. Well, we've covered a lot of ground tonight. But before we wrap up, I think it's time to bring it back to our listeners. What about you out there? We've been exploring Philip Fisher's Common Stocks and Uncommon Profits tonight, a book that's full of wisdom for investors.
It really makes you think about what it means to be a successful investor, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just about picking stocks.
Right.
It's about understanding businesses.
That's such a key point. Fisher wants you to look beyond the numbers and see the company as a living, breathing organism, to understand its culture, its strengths, its weaknesses, and its potential for growth.
He really encourages you to think like a business owner. If you were going to invest your life savings in a company, wouldn't you want to know everything about it?
Of course. You wouldn't just glance at a balance sheet and call it a day.
Right.
You'd want to know the people running the show, the challenges they're facing, the opportunities they're pursuing.
And that's what Fisher helps you do. He gives you the tools and the mindset to evaluate companies with a discerning eye. It's about going beyond the surface and really understanding the heart of the business.
Now, speaking of understanding businesses, I think it's worth noting that Fisher's book isn't just for seasoned investors.
Yeah.
Even if you're just starting out, or even if you're not an investor at all, there's so much wisdom to be gleaned from its pages.
I agree. His principles of research, long-term thinking, and understanding value apply to so many areas of life. Whether you're starting a business, choosing a career path, or even making a major purchase, Fisher's approach can help you make more informed decisions.
Yeah, it's about taking that step back, doing your due diligence, and not being afraid to ask the tough questions. And just as importantly, it's about having the conviction to stick with your decisions even when things get tough.
That reminds me of one of my favorite quotes from the book.
Oh, yeah.
The stock market is filled with individuals who know the price of everything but the value of nothing.
Ooh, that's a good one. It really highlights the difference between short-term speculation and long-term investing. It's about understanding the true worth of something beyond its current market price.
Exactly. And that understanding takes time, research, and a willingness to look beyond the obvious.
So, as we wrap up our exploration of common stocks and uncommon profits, I want to leave our listeners with a challenge. What's one principle from Fisher's book that you can apply to your life right now?
Maybe it's the idea of doing thorough research before making a big decision, or perhaps it's the importance of having a long-term perspective on your goals. Whatever it is, take a moment to reflect on how Fisher's wisdom can help you navigate the complexities of life, both inside and outside the world of investing.
Great advice. And don't forget to hit that follow button and tell us what you think after the show. We love hearing your take on things. From All the Words, I'm Richard,
And I'm Isabella.
signing off.